Hi everybody, it's Thursday afternoon here at Immanuel. We thought it might be helpful to do a video of what's going to be happening this Sunday and Saturday, so the 13th and 14th, as we resume in-person worship. So as you approach church this weekend, the doors are going to be propped open like this so that no one will have to use door handles. So let's go in now and see what things look like in church. So as you come into church, you'll see that things are going to look a little bit different. And by the way, we're doing this video on Thursday afternoon. Our food pantry is happening at the same time. So if you hear a few voices or see people walking in the background, that's okay. That's just our food pantry at work. So as you come on in, rather than having an usher hand you a bulletin, you'll see that we have tables set up here. And I set just a few examples of the bulletins out. There will be more bulletins set out this weekend. But here on these tables, we have hand sanitizer on your way in and bulletins. And then another thing you'll see is we have an offering basket here for on your way in or on your way out. There will also be offering baskets in the front of the church so that you can bring your offering forward with you at communion, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. You may be wondering about masks, and we are recommending that everyone wear a mask. We're not going to require that of everyone, but we are going to recommend it. The pastors are not going to wear masks for a big portion of the service because we're pretty far separate from everyone, but during communion we will wear masks. And then just a friendly reminder too that if you're in a high-risk group or if you're exhibiting any symptoms at all, we ask you to just stay home. We are still providing online worship, so watch for that as well. Just a word about the gathering space for everyone. We are trying to gather everyone here for worship this weekend in as safe a way as possible. Now, nobody can guarantee 100% safety, but we are taking many of the steps that the Centers for Disease Control have recommended for resuming worship at churches. So, one of the main things is social distancing. And I know this is going to be very hard for some of you who are huggers or who are very outgoing, but we really want you to respect other people and their space. One hint I would give you is if you're talking to someone else and you notice that they're backing up all the time when you're talking to them, that means you're probably getting a little bit too close to them. So just be sensitive to everybody. Don't shame people for wearing masks or for wanting to keep social distance. We're just trying to make this work, and we need everybody's cooperation. So when you're here in the gathering space, immediate families, of course, you can be closer together, but try to maintain that 6-foot distance between other people. Doesn't mean you can't talk to people, but just try to honor people's space. All right, now let's go into the church. As you can see, we have taped off with this blue tape every other pew, and we got out a tape measure. We measured its 6-foot distance between places where people might sit. We're also encouraging you to sit in a place that perhaps is not directly behind or directly in front of other worshipers. We can't really control that entirely, but just if there's enough people spreading out throughout the whole church and we don't have to sit directly in front or directly behind, that'll help us to keep social distancing as well. Another thing to note about the pews is there aren't any hymn books or supplements in the pew racks. So we have removed all the hymnals and supplements so that we're not touching those and then touching them again. This is temporary, just like all of this. It's temporary. We don't know how long we're going to be doing this, but for the time being, this is the way it will be. All the words for the hymns will be printed in the bulletin, so you don't have to worry about that. Some of you may be wondering how Holy Communion is going to work, so I thought I would walk you through that. The first thing is the order in which we come up is going to be different. So we're actually going to be starting with each of the side sections. They're going to be coming up first. And there's going to be no passing of the bread or the wine from person to person. Instead, we're going to have communion set up on these tables that you can see that are on either side of the altar. So if I were communing, what I would do is first follow the direction of the ushers. We imagine that family groups will be coming up one by one to get communion. So you'll walk up as directed by the usher. If you have an offering and didn't drop it off on the way in, you could drop it in this basket. And then you'll approach this table, and on the table there will be a napkin with a cup and a wafer of bread, and you'll be able to simply take your own cup and your own wafer off of one napkin, And then there will be a pastor here to say the body of Christ given for you and the blood of Christ shed for you. And then you will simply deposit your used glass into the white bowl on either side and then go back to your seats. So another thing we're doing to avoid too close of social distance, that doesn't make any sense, but to avoid people getting too close to each other is to not have big lines of people waiting for communion. So like I said, it's going to be family group by family group. On your way out of church, what we're asking you to do is to place your bulletin in one of these bins, which is marked for used bulletins on your way out. And then we are not going to reuse bulletins like we have before, so that we're not passing bulletins from person to person. That's what we ask you to do on your way out. So we hope that you will join us this week as you are comfortable, and hopefully this video will give you some idea of what to expect when you come. Certainly if you have questions, you can email or ask on Saturday or Sunday when you come. But God's blessings to everyone.